causes of the recent stampedes in Nigeria has become a lot of concern as some persons have attributed these issue of food stampedes in Nigeria as, to hunger being the causes for all of this recent situation, tragic events that happened in Oyo State, in Anambra State, and of course here at the Federal Capital Territory, as claimed the life of 65 or 67 Nigerians because of the worsening hunger crisis in the country. And now tonight on the program, we'll be looking at what better ways can we begin to do it, because the figures, by 2020 figure, we are having a concern that food inflation may rise up to about 47% if it's not well managed. I'm being joined by Abdul Kadri Lukman. He's a public affairs analyst and a social realist. Thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight.
It's a pleasure for having me.
Yes, I don't know you had witnessed. You've also heard about these recent stampedes, and it really having a concern because at a time where people ought to be celebrating, we're losing life of 65 or 67 Nigerians who went out in a queue to get food and what to eat. What is this signal? What is the information these activities has really sent to the government and the Nigerian people?
Thank you very much. It is unfortunately for the situation that happens in Oyo State and other parts of the country, Nigeria, because it is the responsibility of government to provide the basic amenities, the basic necessity for livelihood of her citizens. But it is unfortunately as a case study of the current administration that those basic amenities are not well seen in our respective communities across the federation. So government must really stand firmly to address this concern, because one of the things that caused this crisis is that Nigerians are hungry and angry, and this issue needs to be addressed by the federal government of Nigeria, because the price of commodities has been skyrocketing day after day. Also, the purchasing power from the citizens has been declined. Things has been compounded, so government must come and address this concern before it gets to a worsening situation.
I mean, it's really a concern, because if you look at the World Bank estimation, the World Bank is estimating the Nigeria's poverty rate at 38.9% in 2023, with over 87 million people living below the poverty line. And that if by this year, the figure has risen from the 38.9% to over 40.7%, that those are having a concern on how can we bridge the gap of those are the upper class and the middle class and the lower class, because this class separation is causing a lot of pressure. It looks that there are classes of people that their purchasing power have been defeated drastically. And how can we address it? Because if people are having palliative, there's nothing wrong about giving palliative. You know, even Mr. Peter Obi said that they shouldn't turn the good intentions of some Nigerians to be bad. You know, no, we've not really heard or seen how the organizer had really had bad intentions towards those events. These were events organized to reach out, you know, to the people. End of the year gathering, and this has always been. But for the previous years, we've not really had cases, recorded cases of stampedes, just as we are recording this year. What has been the differentiation between these classes of people in Nigeria?
You see, firstly, what government need to do at this point, people did not need a palliative. As I rightly said earlier, that Nigerians are hungry and angry. So someone may leave his respective home just to go and get this item, this palliative being given by individuals. But when he gets there, the processes, it makes him becomes more angry if he could not get those items at that particular point of time. So many things could lead to this issue of stamping that happens in different states of the federation. So firstly, we are not discouraging individuals or NGOs from giving a palliative or providing necessary support to individuals, but there should be a way, there should be a register, a book of register that will have the numbers of the beneficiaries before the day of the commencement of this program. And for federal government to introduce palliative, for me, I think it's not something sustainable. What government need to do is to come with a program that will be sustainable, that will get people inquire, teach people, let people have a skills acquisition, bring programs instead of giving people palliative of maybe a bag of rice or a peanut amount of 30,000, 20,000. People will spend it and still come back again. So there is a big differences between the top class and the middle class and the lower class in Nigeria. And for government to address this, people need to be oriented, people need to be educated, people need to be empowered so that they can be self-reliant by having something to do. When you give someone palliative today, it means he may make use of that item, and tomorrow he's in need of more from the government. So government needs to come up with a policy, with a program that is very sustainable for people. This will address many concerns.
All right, because it's two-sided. That those that are still arguing and having the argument that, look, if you look at the pictures on those who went out to queue, some of them look, they are not really looking like an hungry people. That is also having a concern that some Nigerians are greedy. Because if we have, the organizers said, we had budgeted for 50, we had budgeted for 100. But sometimes numbers who were not really invited or projected to have, been at this event sometimes have their way to this event. And those who already have what to eat, or those who have what at home to go back to, compared to those who do not have at all, is still having the number and the pressure in situations like this. Would you disengage the path of Nigerians to all of this crisis? Because if we feel that it is wrong for, on the policies of government and the inflation that is hitting up, but in a way that, can we have palliatives successfully given out? Can we have this event being organized properly without these kind of sad commentaries or tragic events from these scenarios?
Absolutely, it can easily be done by having a protocol and also security personnel who will support the processes by safeguarding people who are participating, the beneficiaries of this palliative. As I rightly talks about having a register of these beneficiaries. Someone cannot just walk into a hall or a places that is being secured, maybe to take an item that does not belong to him or where he is not even invited. So when we have a very recorded numbers of beneficiaries, we have protocols. This protocol must be followed while we ensure that there is a proper security to assist us in carrying this exercise. So we are urging individuals and even government, when you have something of this nature to provide to the citizens, people are hungry and angry. Make sure that there is a book of register that contains the details of those beneficiaries. This will assist government or individual to have a very successful exercise. And to those who lost their life at that particular program, we pray that God will grant them eternal rest, and we also pray that government and individuals should please have a protocol, a book of register, to ensure that all the beneficiaries, maybe in subsequent engagements, are well registered and captured.
All right. The situation and the need to focus on food production and some of these economic reforms that may alleviate the poverty is still a major concern of this government. Because we can't talk of addressing food inflation without agriculture, without looking at the fact that there's a need for us to start producing food. That those that feel that a state of emergency, ordinary, ought to have been declared on agriculture, on the state of agriculture, from the state, from the local government to the state, and now the federal government. Because if the government have stayed for over 18 months, they can't really point out to the number of production they have been able to produce as a government. State government, on the other end, cannot also account for what they have also done in respect to agriculture. But we are seeing the statistics rising every day. Tomato is no more available to some Nigerians. Pepper is still a commodity for a high class right now. Rice, maize, beans is not affordable. Ordinarily, these are what used to be affordable for all Nigerians, but it looks that it has gotten so scarce, not because it's not available in the market, but many Nigerians do not have the purchasing power to get some of these foodstuff. And it's a problem to address food production in the country.
You see, when you have a policy, it is very easy for government to formulate a policy. But it is another thing for government to implement that policy. And in implementing this policy, there should be a strict for functional supervision of those policies. Ensure that the policy has been implemented and are well taken care of. Let me give an instance. We make production of tomato. Let's say we make production of 2 baskets of tomato, and the population of Nigerian needs to have 1.5 basket of tomato in the market, and you are now exporting 1.5 basket of tomato. You are exporting it outside Nigeria, while you left Nigerians with half basket of tomato. That half basket of tomato cannot serve the populace of Nigeria, cannot serve the population. Is one of the things that are causing, that are making the commodities also to be scarce in the market. And also, as I rightly said earlier, even if these commodities are available, the resources that people will use to go to market and get those things is something different. As I rightly said earlier, the economy needs to be stable. The federal government needed to do something very urgently to address this concern. More importantly, when you address your economy, you also address the security sector. By doing so, I think things will continue to get better. In recent times, government comes up with different policies, removal of fuel subsidy and so on. Now, Nigerians buy a fuel about 1,050 naira per liters. People have become use of it. Our concern is that we agree we want to reset the economy, but let Nigerians be seeing the impact of those policies on their daily lives.
A lot of concern right there. But as we move over to 2025, what may be your topmost concern for government? Because we've seen August, first 10 days of August, met with a lot of protests when Nigerians were saying we are hungry. Just as we wrap up on this conversation, what will be your concern, even as we are having the budget of 2025 already proposed to the National Assembly? What should be the priorities of this government?
As we're approaching 2025, our concern is that government has promised us that they are coming with a renewed hope. This is 2024, December, and we're yet to see the renewed hope. By 2025, let the federal government renew the hope of Nigeria. Let us have confidence in the government. Because by 2025, if Nigeria did not see the change that they have been yearning for, if we are unable to see the renewed hope, we will become hopelessness. And Nigeria will become something different that we may not even have time to discuss, because people are hungry and angry. And this hungry and angry can lead to insecurity in different parts of the country, because an idle mind is a devil workshop. So government needs to engage citizens in something meaningful that will add value to the economy.
Abdul Kadri Lukman is a public affairs analyst sharing his thought right there on the state of the nation, the cost of living crisis, and how government can also look at the situations of addressing them. Lives and property is a cardinal point and responsibility of government to protect, because the issues and the concerns of many Nigerians struggling to survive due to hunger is still a major concern, and it's still right for government to look at the area of food production even as we march towards the new year 2025 agenda. And that's the size we'll be having tonight on the show. We keep on tracking some of these developments, and of course, as heart still goes out to the families of those who have lost their loved ones in the course of these stampedes, tragic events in the 3 respective states. We do hope that government, on the other hand, will also hasten up their policies, bringing out short-term measures in addressing the economic situation in the country. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on the show. We do hope to have you again join us tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.